In this small city of Singapore, Japanese culture has slowly immersed here. A once convicted couple with the idea of bringing back the Japanese ramen culture to Singapore was now successful despite having its downfall. This is the journey of Ramen. The culture of ramen runs deep in Japan. What is ramen? Ramen is actually Japanese fast food, but the process of making it is not fast at all. Nearly every region has its own variation. Most noodles are made from two basic ingredients, flour and water. Making of ramen noodles takes time, skills, and patience. Tonkotsu soup usually has a thick, cloudy broth which is made from pork bones, onions, ginger, garlic cloves, and chopped spring onions. This is to be boiled over high heat for at least 12 hours. The basic toppings for ramen would be the char siu, which is braised pork slices. Marinating the char siu meat is the most important step of getting the perfect char siu taste. The special marinating sauce, pork and spring onions, ginger, onion. This is to be marinated for at least 12 hours. Lastly, we will put all of them together to complete a bowl of traditional tonkotsu ramen. Do you know how ramen came to Singapore? During the 1859, Chinese ramen made its way over to Japan. After World War II, cheap flour was imported from the United States, which swept the Japanese market. At the same time, millions of Japanese returnees had returned from China and became familiar with the Chinese cuisine. By the 1900s, restaurants serving Chinese cuisines offered a simple ramen dish. Many Chinese living in Japan also put portable street food stalls, selling ramen and gyoza to workers. By the mid-1900s, these stalls used horns or loudspeakers to advertise their presence. Thus, ramen became a popular dish in Japan. Beginning in 1980s, ramen became a Japanese cultural icon and was studied from many perspectives and was slowly introduced all around the world. And towards Singapore eventually. Traditionally, in Japan, people treat ramen as a street food where workers can enjoy a simple and affordable meal after their tiring hours of work during the cold nights or even just for a normal meal in Japan. Here we have a once convicted couple with the idea of bringing back the Japanese ramen culture to Singapore to share with us their journey.
I'm Kai-Hing, I'm 30 this year.
こんにちは、私は高木愛です。このラーメン屋は夫婦と一緒に開けています。
We wanted a source of income and also we enjoy eating ramen. Whenever we go to Japan, we eat a lot of ramen.
Do you know the real reason behind how it all started? Before this ramen business, they used to own a popular website called therealsingapore.com. In 2012, they were still very young and idealistic. They believed that they could improve Singapore's media freedom by running a website where anyone could post their views and stories about things happening in Singapore. However, they were not careful enough in filtering the submissions on the website. In the end, they were charged in the court and was sentenced to 10 months in jail, and their website was shut down by the MDA. Although things were tough, they do not regret going to jail and starting the website, as this is what brings them to being successful now. Let's continue watching and learn more about their affordable ramen business.
So the type of ramen that we're selling is a Kyushu style ramen, which is a tonkotsu broth. Tonkotsu basically means pork bone, and then it's a very thick, white, opaque kind of broth. And it goes together with the noodles, which are thin. So the thin noodles help you to pick up the thick broth, and then these two go together well to focus on the soup itself.
Spicy ramen is the most popular for us, the Garaka men, and also the Tantan men, because those are more spicy, more oily. So I think it caters to a local Singaporean taste.
So at the outlets itself, we try to do whatever we can to make sure it's simple. We have a lot of things coming from a central kitchen. So at the outlet itself, when a customer order comes, we take the soup, which is prepared in the central kitchen, and then we boil the noodles. Then we fold those noodles into the soup and then put the relevant toppings for the customer's order. So actually this whole process from customer ordering until they can take their food, if we're doing it at peak efficiency, they should be able to get their food in around 1.5 minutes only.
Running a business is definitely tough to ensure the food is good at all times. To buy premium ingredients, and they do not come cheap. It was said by Takagi that the difficulty is the way in balancing. Takagi Ramen's ways to balancing was to work with lots of suppliers to make sure that their raw ingredients come in at a very good price. To maintain the affordable culture of Japanese ramen, at the same time, they definitely didn't want to skip on ingredients to make sure that the food is good and in an affordable prices. Most of the time, they felt like giving up, but what stopped them was their responsibility towards their families, both Takagi's and young Kai Heng's aging parents.
We wanted to introduce ramen as an affordable food that Singaporeans could enjoy regularly, like a bowl of bak chor mee. And also we are committed to being affordable and don't want to pass on costs to consumers. For example, even though we are a GST registered company, we still absorb all the taxes, so customers pay only what they see on the menu. Okay, so we are very thankful for our staff for going through all the thick and thin with us. At the start, we have a lot of turnover, but there's a few of our really loyal staff that really pull it through with us.
We believe that happy staff are really a very important part of running a successful business, especially in F&B. So we've always tried to make sure that our staff are properly rewarded. So we actually have a profit sharing scheme where we give 10% of our company profits to our staff every month. Yeah, especially without all their help, because F&B, there's really long hours, and then we know it's very tiring, but our staff, they still work very hard, so we're always very thankful to them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu.
We should always believe in ourselves and never give up, no matter how hard we fall in life. This is the journey of Ramen.